I was trying to think about when I met you, and I don't know if we ever got to talk because you were probably one of the like super cool kids at Monash, and I was like the terrified first year, being like, "Wow, these guys are amazing." And then then I think it was maybe like the second half of my first year that I saw you on like tour with Guy Sebastian, and oh my gosh, this guy Travis is amazing.
I don't know about that. It's just a trumpet player, like really.
Just a trumpet player.
I mean, a lot of it is circumstance, and a lot of it is just being in the right place at the right time, and being, just a friendly, nice person who people want to hang out with and play. I mean, obviously, you've got to have the skill for the job, but like that came from my friends. In Sasquatch, the horn section got asked to do it. One of the trumpet players couldn't do it, and they, we were all really good friends and hung out a lot and partied at the Cherry Bar a lot. So, they're just like, let's ask Trav to do it, and that was pretty much it.
Wow.
It's just exactly things like that. Like all the tours and things that have come up for me with any international artist or even Australian artists has all just been circumstance and who's available and, who you know.
Yeah, wow.
Really.
Do you think it's like quite a supportive scene of like horn sections where you are like, oh, I can't do it, so I'll ask like someone else that I know, and it's quite like, I don't know, more supportive than competitive?
Yes, definitely. Especially as you get older, people's circumstances change. Like, people might go back to study. They might not have, people might have kids, or they might have full-time jobs as well as doing music. So it's always like, well, I can't do this one, so let me give it to my friend who I know is going to do a good job. I know that I can trust them, and, they'll return the favor, because there's not a lot in Australia. There's not a lot of horn section gigs going around. So when they do pop up, it's they're pretty rare, to be honest. I mean, not last year, the year before, sorry, what are we, 2023, I got asked to do a tour with Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that.
And that popped up literally 2 or 3 weeks before the tour, before they came. Yeah. It was just one of the... So this is exactly how this went down. The sax player, a sax player here in Australia, he always tours with Michael Bublé's band because he went to uni with most of his band. Okay. So they're all really good friends. So when he comes to Australia and New Zealand, he always does the tour. And then he was here, they finished the tour, and then, I don't know, a month or so later, one of the guys in the band just messaged him and said, hey, can you put together a horn section? Miss Hill wants some horns for a tour in Australia. And he's like, what? It's like in 2 weeks. And they're like, yeah. Just put together, we need a bone, a couple trumpets, a sousaphone, and a couple saxes. And he just had to call around, and it was basically whoever was available that he could get onto. And that's how it all went down. And man, like they were booking our flights like days before we were supposed to be in Sydney. It was so loose, but
wow,
it was a lot of fun. But yeah, a lot of the time we were waiting around. It would be 11 p.m. at night when we would get an email for the next day going, this is your itinerary. You've got a 7 a.m. sound check at this festival. Just things like that.
Wow.
It was pretty, it was not the most organized, but a lot of fun and an experience,
Yeah, what was it like playing with Lauryn Hill?
It was fun. Like, I'm a fan of the music, and, we were playing 10, 15,000 people shows, maybe more. Even one of the festivals was huge. You couldn't even, one in Queensland, I think there was 15, 20,000 people there.
Wow.
And, you're just playing the music. It's an experience. Like, when I look back at some of the videos and things like that, the horns are sometimes, I think, a little bit more of a stage presence than actually contributing to the music.
Okay.
But,
you can take that if you need.
Sorry, it's my mum. She's pestering me. You know, like you look back and you're like, oh, well, what are we contributing? But then you kind of, you know, when you're on stage and you're part of that energy and, you know, everybody's, you know, vibing and dancing and really putting in the energy into the music. Like her band is just incredible musicians and so much fun to just sit there and play with. But, sugar, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. But, you know, like, there were times, you know, she wouldn't even kind of, like, acknowledge us on stage, you know, like, wouldn't even look at you. But then when I actually talked to her on the last night, and she was so lovely. She was like, she said thank you. She said she really enjoyed playing with us and having us along. We were only supposed to do the Australian leg of the tour, but the band and her liked us so much they ended up taking us to New Zealand as well.
Wow.
And, you know, she said thank you, told me to thank the rest of the Horns and hopefully we'll do it again sometime soon.
Wow.
You know?
Wow, it's so special.
Yeah, it really is. You know, those things, you know, that will probably never happen again. And it just happened like within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of bizarre how these opportunities arise, but that's the nature of being in a horn section. You know, of being a horn player, you've kind of got to be ready and be available. And when it pops up, you just have to say yes and make it work.
Is that common? Like someone is on tour and at some stage says, "Oh, I've got more budget," or "We're booking bigger shows or something, so let's add some horns in last minute."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's happened a few times to me. One of which I actually wasn't really aware of the band, but I remember looking them up on Instagram and they were quite big. But I couldn't make the show work. But they just said, "Oh, look, tickets are selling really well. We want to add a trumpet in for this one song. Can you come and do it?" I couldn't do it in that instance, but same thing with Jose Gonzalez. I did that last year as well.
Does it a couple duo shows?
Yeah. So there's this one track that he has on his album that has trumpet, and it's just him on stage with guitars just the whole time and singing, and it's absolutely beautiful show. And yeah, same thing. They just wanted to add some trumpet in because he said usually he was really lovely dude, but he said usually I just whistle it, but he said both shows sold out, and they were like, let's just get trumpet. You know, so then that just came from a friend from Sydney. You know, the tour manager knew a trumpet player in Sydney. He called him and then he said, "No, get this guy in Melbourne. He's in Melbourne. Save you having to fly me out and everything." And yeah, so that's, you know, that came up again maybe a month before the gigs.
Wow.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was really special. That was a really nice one. He was really cool. Like, really, really nice dude.
What made it special?
Just how warm he was and how much of a nice person. I mean, obviously the show and the music is beautiful and he sings so great, but, you know, so often, you know, when you play with some of these bigger stars and whatever, you know, you don't really get acknowledged. And I know I was actually talking to some friends, a friend of mine, trumpet player, who's done a bunch of gigs with two very well-known Australian rock bands recently, and I won't name them. His name is Shane, but said one of them, you know, was the star was an absolute sweetheart, and, you know, like sitting next to them on private planes, and, you know, just making them part of the family. And then the other one is just like other band doesn't even acknowledge. They're not even allowed in the same dressing room. They're not even allowed, you know, to talk to the band. You know, it's very. And it's really surprising when you know who they are. It's just, you don't think that's how they would be. But, you know, but with Jose, it was, you know, he was like, come in my green room, sit down, grab whatever you want out of the fridge, we, you know, have a beer and chat. And, you know, he was a really nice guy. Asked me about what I do here, asked me about my bands, you know, asked me about my life, everything. And, you know, and then when we went out there and played the song, it just made it feel more special. Like you're creating music together. as opposed to just being the help.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How does it feel like being a musician in a horn section that like has this like you're not in the band or like don't talk to the artist, like this there's sort of like this separation where you're like this extra special thing added in, but like for whatever reason, like you're not part of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That becomes work. That's when you're just working.
Mm.
You know, you're there to do a role, and you just, you know, be as professional as possible and do the job.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, there's nothing. I mean, it also depends if you're a fan of the music. Like, I've definitely sometimes caught myself, you know, just kind of having a good time on stage, and then realized I missed a cue because I was just enjoying the show. But I mean, yeah, there's pros and cons to being a musician and a touring musician, and you know, you're just working sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
What did you mean when you said about the gig with Lauryn Hill that like it didn't feel that you were contributing to the music more? That you know you were just there.
Yeah, I mean, because like if you listen back, you know, the good thing these days is everybody's, well, not the good thing, but everybody's filming everything, and you can, after a show, you can just literally just look back at the Instagram reels and things and see a million videos of yourself. And, you know, sometimes when you listen back and you kind of know, oh yeah, this section, the horns were just absolutely blazing, and then you listen back to it and you can barely hear it coming out of front of house. It's just kind of like, well, what's the point of having us there? You know? And I've had that a couple times before, and then it's kind of like, oh, maybe it's just there for show, you know. But then, you know, the last gig we did with her, she was asking for more horns in her in-ears.
Right.
You know, and I was like, oh, maybe we are there for a reason. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How do you feel about like the dance moves and things like that, like the stage presence side of things?
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing. You can't just stand there and just like, I mean, you can get away with minimal, but you do need to be a part of the vibe. And obviously you can't, you know, you don't want it to take away from the actual performance, like playing. So you can't go too crazy, but you definitely are encouraged. And if you don't, you know, move, you'll get a little MD in your in-ears going, move, motherfucker. Seriously, that has happened before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that something that comes natural to you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I can't dance. I suck at it. I suck at it. Even with the Guy tour, we had like choreographed like moves. We had lessons on what to do, and I still fucked it up every time, every night. So, you know, it's not some people are pretty chill with it and good. I'm not very good at it. But, you know, a little sidestep never goes astray.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
You've got the fallback. And you're getting called back. So, like, you know, the music being the most important bit is still getting nailed, I guess. So
yeah.
That is good.
to the most part, yeah.
Well, it was really fun seeing you guys play at the last jazz festival, Melbourne International Jazz Festival, for our listeners. What was it like doing the collaboration with the Hot 8 brass band and like opening the festival with the Walk Down the River?
So, I mean, it was a dream come true, basically.
Okay.
I mean, when I started the band with Daniel Berry, the drummer, we started it been nearly 11 years now. We had just gone to New Orleans. So we were in New York studying with Monash, and we were at New York doing a thing with NYU for a month. And just on the end of the trip, we decided to go to New Orleans for a few days. I thought, oh yeah, could be fun.
Yeah.
So we went there, and then, we just see so many brass bands on the streets everywhere just playing and doing all this stuff. And we were like, fuck, there's none of that in Melbourne. We should do that. So we came back, finished our degrees, and then 6 months later we started jamming out in Edinburgh Gardens, playing literally Rebirth brass band, Hot 8 brass band tunes. Like we were just, we didn't have any original material. We were just playing trad songs and covers of Rebirth and that.
Mm-hmm.
So, then to fast forward, 10 years later, to be sharing the stage with them, hanging out with them. We got to we organised a little private hang and jam with them where we played some of their stuff, they played some of our stuff, and gave us pointers. We went out for dinner. They were so supportive and so just like, can't believe you guys are doing this here in Australia. You sound so good.
Wow.
We're going to play some of your songs in Melbourne, in New Orleans, and it was just fun and just so cool to see. I'd seen these bands in New Orleans and in Melbourne before when they come in, but when you're on stage with them, just feeling the raw energy of the sound, it really lifts you up and goes, wow, that's how this is done,
Yeah.
And then so that was into 2023, and then 2024 last year we did it with TBC Brass Band.
Oh yeah, sorry, I messed up
That's all right.
Combined the two together.
Yeah. So we did the same thing with with TBC last year, sorry, and that wasn't supposed to happen. They did need a trumpet player because one of their trumpet players couldn't come. So they called me up like a week before the gig and said, "Hey, can you?" Because we've had a bit of a connection on Instagram, and one of the guys in the band, actually, his sister lives here in Australia. So we've had a little connection and a little chat, and I'd been in touch with Jazz Fest about TBC and whatnot, and basically they called me up and said, "Our trumpet player can't come. Can you play with us on the second line?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, but I'm going to get my other trumpet player to join as well, and we'll just, don't worry about the money, we'll figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
So just because I thought it'd be a good opportunity for Ben and I to do it. And then the week of the gig, my trombone players decided they wanted to play as well. So, and the TBC guys were like, hell yeah, the more the better. They weren't phased at all. But we were supporting them the next night.
Mm-hmm.
At
170 Russell.
170 Russell, yeah. So they were, again, they were just absolute sweethearts and just so nice. And now we've formed connections with both these bands. They're both like, when you come to New Orleans, we got you. We're going to collaborate. TBC are like talking about doing some recording together as well. And now we've made friends with these guys, and we can learn from them. And the beauty of social media and everything is, we can see what they're doing. They can see what we're doing, and they're still keeping contact online. And it's just it's a really special thing that the Jazz Festival was able to accommodate for us as well, because they've got a million other things to organise, and for them they bring out the band play, but they were able to incorporate us into that, which I think helps us, but also helps them as well, because it's going to help what we do here in Melbourne and Australia and moving forward, and help improve our music. And it was a really cool thing, because it's sometimes you get a bit nervous and scared and think, oh, they're going to be dismissive, and who are these dudes trying to play what our music is and whatnot. But it was just the complete opposite. They were both bands were so cool, hanging out, chatting, talking about, drummers were talking drums and trumpets were talking trumpets, and it was cool. It was really fun.
Well, I think it's just like a credit to, this awesome project that you've built. Like you say, like you've been doing it for 10 years. And to go from like playing the music of these bands that have like inspired you to do it. Yeah. Like, it's like massively well done. And
thanks. I mean, it is. I was saying, like I was talking to one of the guys in the band recently, and I was just like, I mean, not to piss in our own pocket or anything, but it's like from where we started, just like jamming at Edinburgh Gardens on a Tuesday afternoon playing trad songs to where we've come and the opportunities and the collaborations we've been able to do. It's a pretty wild thing if you step back. For me, as the band member and band leader, it's pretty wild to think like we're just a bunch of horn players, like what? Like there's nothing special, we're not pop stars. We don't sing and dance. We just play this music in our own way, and it's pretty crazy the things that we've been able to do here in Australia, and we're obviously very thankful, but it's also a credit to the scene here and the opportunities here that can arise. And Australians do to some degree value live music and festivals and I mean, it's been a hell of a ride. Really, not the most easiest one as well. Can be very stressful, very hard. Also dealing with people, musicians.
As the band leader, you mean? And like tour manager and stuff?
Yeah. We haven't really had any big blowouts, which I've been very happy with, because I've got a friend who is in a really good, well-known rock band who, they were supporting internationals and doing lots. They were doing really well, and they broke up years ago. And, he said the hardest thing about keeping a band together is keeping a band together.
Yeah.
And I've never really had any issues with that side of things. Definitely had some issues with certain members and, behavior and attitudes and egos and things like that, which we've managed to stamp out and kind of take care of. But, then you've got that side of it, but then you've also got the workload side of it. And I actually work full time and have pretty much been throughout this whole ride.
Wow.
And manage, sometimes some years we were doing 60 to 80 gigs a year, plus touring. There's a lot to manage and organize. So it's definitely been stressful, but it's been a good ride. It's been good fun.
How do you overcome those times where it's just like, you've got a limited amount of time because you're doing all these other things as well? It's quite impressive that you've maintained it for so long. Like, do you have some like specific strategies, or are you just like white knuckling it the whole time? And it's just like, all right, now I zoom back out and all right, cool. Like, I'm glad we got through that year. Let's do it all again next year.
There's definitely been a couple times where I was just like, shit, I've bitten off more than I can chew. But you just get through it, and you've like, I've managed to develop get certain things developed for my band. Like, we've got a special website that is only the members of the band can access, and it basically shows availabilities, gigs, new gigs, things like that, and they can edit it anywhere on their phone or on their computer or tablet, whatever, anywhere in the world. And they can invoice from it. I can invoice from it. Things like that. That's just that little bits of like admin that can make it time consuming gets done very quickly, so that I can then focus on the more important things, like, the marketing for gigs and social media and, got to book flights, hotels, things like that. Because these days you do festivals and things, there's no more, they take care of it for you. It's like you give a delivered fee, and that's got to include ground transport, flights, accommodation, and your performance fee. So they basically give you a chunk of money, then you're on your own to get there, basically. So it's very rare these days that festivals and things will take care of that for you. Because when they do, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's great.
Of course. And are you carrying all of it with the Horns of Leroy? Like, is all this responsibility on you?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Occasionally I'll farm some things out, but sometimes I just find it's easier. I just do it, get it done quick, and so yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, but yeah, you figure out ways of managing it and not sleeping.
That website sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Is that something like you've custom made?
A friend of mine, Matt Dixon from the Shiraz Jazz Band, he developed it for his band. And then I was playing with them for quite a while. And then when I left, I actually asked him, and a few years later, I asked him to duplicate it for me for Horns. And then he did. And then over the years, I've got him to add certain things to that, like the invoicing part of it, and things like that I needed to have because I was sick of chasing invoices from people.
Of course.
Which is also a nightmare.
Yeah.
Total nightmare. And like when you're doing 60, 80 gigs a year, 7 people, sometimes 8, sometimes more, depending on the event.
Yeah.
That's a lot of invoices. And, to keep track of it and chase, it just becomes an absolute nightmare.
When did you realize that, like, it wasn't just going to be about you playing the trumpet for your professional career as a musician?
What do you mean?
Like, that there's all this admin that you've got to do and manage this and schedule that and invoice this.
I don't know. I've always been pretty business-minded and pretty kind of... I've always found myself in those organising roles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... I don't know why. I'm just can do it, I'm good at it, get it done. That's it. Like, some people, it blows my mind. Like, they're the most incredible musician. Like, sometimes I look at them and I'm like, I would kill to have a fraction of what you've got. But they are the most unorganized people. Like, I don't even know how they get dressed in the morning. It's just crazy. Like, insane.
Yeah.
But, the most incredible musician. And, like, for me, the admin side of it just comes easy. You just organize it, comes easy. So, I just fell into that role. And, I've had members over the past offer to help and sort of jumped into some roles. But in the end, it just sort of never really works out. So it just ends up just easier. I do it.
Well, can we go back to like the very start of your musical journey?
Yeah.
What's your first memory of like listening or playing music?
I've always had music in the house in the family. My father is classically trained pianist. My mother is always listening to, Motown and things like that. So we've always had a lot of, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson, all that kind of stuff pumping in the house. And then my father would be playing classical music and then listening to Dave Brubeck. And, it's just always been around. I didn't even really, I kind of had piano lessons as a kid, but then that kind of fizzled out. And then when I went to high school, my father was like, "Oh, you're going to learn an instrument." And then I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Yep." And, I picked up trumpet in year 8. I guess I was about 12, 13 years old and basically just did it because I had to. And then...
Did you choose trumpet or did someone choose it for you?
I chose it because I had a friend who was playing trumpet in school. And so I just, basically picked it up and then was, just messed about for a few years. And then it was about probably year 11 or about year 11 when I started actually kind of enjoying it and started discovering music. And my father would take myself, Steve Hornby, bass player here in Melbourne. We went to school together. Trent Jans, he's also a guitar player.
Oh yeah, I knew Trent.
Yeah, so Trent and Steve and I, we would go. My father would take us to Bennett's Lane to see the mainstay big band and see. He'd take us to Nightcat on Sunday nights to see the Latin bands. And
wow.
we just sort of and then started getting lessons from guys in those bands, and then you'd see them on TV and things, and you think, oh, that's really cool, and it just sort of snowballed from there. And like I had no plan to be a musician in my life. It just kind of happened.
Wow.
Just sort of fell into it a little bit, and still, so, I'm definitely at a point where it's, the balance I think is good with work life and music life, but obviously I'd love to have more time to devote to the trumpet in the long run, but, I've just got a mortgage to pay and cat to support.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of do what I can do to sort of just get through.
What's it about the balance that works for you? Like, are you saying that you've got a job completely separate to music industry?
Pretty much.
Keep the worlds pretty separate?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my job is music industry related, but it's not like I'm teaching music where I'm playing trumpet during the day still. They're kind of pretty separate things. And so the balance of how much work we're doing now versus, pre-pandemic, it's definitely not like as crazy as it was pre-pandemic, but it's good. We've got enough work that we, making some money, but also keeping our chops up, and we're not overdoing it or getting, burnt out or overloaded.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like on a trumpet player level, like how do you maintain playing in a band like Horns of Leroy, where it's like, you're not just a horn section up the back. It's you, the whole.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. It's very, very high energy. You're sort of playing quite loud all the time, and you really have to keep your chops in form. Otherwise, you'll just bottom out and just you'll crash and burn on stage. And it has happened before. You've just got to play every day. Even if it's for 15 minutes or so, like just keep some form, and then when you're coming closer to a gig, you really start stepping it up and going harder, and just, nothing, the reality is nothing can be comparison to playing a gig on stage, no matter, what you do in the practice room. But, when we've got bigger shows and things like that, we tend to rehearse a few days before, where we can all just sort of go hard and get some form back and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle. Like sometimes I'll find I've been super busy. I haven't played trumpet for a week, and then I've got a bunch of gigs, and I'm like, got to figure that out, and so, sometimes life takes over. You have weddings or family things or sport, and there's just nothing you can do. Work all day, go and play sport at night, or go and do something at night, and then by the time you get home it's 11 o'clock and you haven't played trumpet. It's like you can't really play trumpet at 11, so you got to go home and go to bed. So sometimes you've just got to kind of you've just got to somehow figure it into your schedule. It's just it's a part of your life. Like going to the gym, it's like you have to do it.
Yeah.
Or just eating, you have to do it.
Do you enjoy it, like that practice side of things?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is a bit of a chore, and you just like, last thing I want to do is play trumpet today. But but then sometimes, when you've got a really exciting gig coming up or something, or festival things, it is enjoyable. It's like you're preparing for it.
So do you have like an array of trumpets depending on, what shows? Like, do you have, I don't know, is there like a marching band specialty horn?
No. I mean, we all actually play Yamaha instruments. We're a Yamaha endorsed band. And that definitely helps with the blending side of things.
What do you mean by that?
So our sounds blend a lot better. The overtones, times where Ben and I are playing trumpet lines together, and it just sounds like one trumpet, because that definitely helps with the projection of the sound. It means you don't have to play as loud.
Right.
Because it's the overtones and everything are hitting, reflecting and creating what I feel is a bigger sound.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a trumpet. It's just a trumpet, really. I mean, man, the guys from New Orleans, when they come, they're playing all sorts of horns that are beaten up and missing caps and things. I'm like, how are you still? One of the trombone players from TBC, he was missing the metal rod on his slide, which they used to hold onto. Yeah. So he said, it fell off one day. So now he just uses his fingers to
like spread them together
like this, like he's holding a cigarette. He's just using a slide.
Wow.
And you just make do with what you've got.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. But man, what an incredible trombone player. George, what's his last name? He was incredible.
From TBC?
TBC, yeah.
Yeah, sorry for combining the two.
That's all right. It's all good.
It's all blended together. But two separate and very distinct, awesome times.
Yeah.
And great bands.
Absolutely, yeah.
What's it like being like a musician that's endorsed through Yamaha? Like, do you have to do a lot of like promotional stuff for them?
Yes and no. I mean, you just, you acknowledge the endorsement and especially when we do a lot of educational things, like we do music camps with schools and things like that. We do definitely, sometimes we're able to take them Yamaha related gifts, pens, pencils, drink bottles, things like that. And just sort of helps there. And, they look after us. And sometimes, if we're ever interstate and someone needs, instrument doesn't make it or whatever, sometimes you're able to call on them and a music store may be able to lend you a horn or something, things like that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of there. And obviously you get to play their instruments and get to trial their instruments when they get things in as well. They were able to bring us in a brand new sousaphone, which
wow.
You can't really. It's not like you can go to any music store and buy a sousaphone in Australia. So they were able to bring one in from Japan for us, and
wow,
we were able to buy that for the band as well, which is awesome because it's an awesome sounding instrument.
Yeah.
So Jay's been playing that at the moment, and just that's pretty much it.
Do you get to muck around at all on any of the other brass instruments? Like, would you ever pick up the sousaphone for a tune and?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I've always wanted to play it, actually. I keep telling Jay, next time we're here, I'm going to give it a whirl. Because it'll be funny. Nick has done it a couple times. Nick's played sousaphone. He's a trombone player. He's played sousaphone on a couple gigs where we were a little desperate because sousaphone players aren't, everywhere in Australia. But yeah, other than that, no, we pretty much just stick to our roles.
Yeah, fair. What's your role on the trumpet out of the two trumpets?
That's a very good question. It's actually funny how we have, over the years, our music, especially our original music, has really expanded and become quite specific to the roles of each member in the band. And like, for instance, Ben, he's quite good at playing in the high register. So he tends to take most of the high register parts. I mean, we do bump and swap here and there, but he tends to do that a lot more. I'll often be playing an octave below, but really supportive, like quite loud. And then I often do a lot of the front manning, a lot of the hyping and talking and whatnot. And then, and Ben's a really good singer. I'm not a very good singer. So he'll, take vocal things a little bit more. And then same with Chris and Nick. Chris on trombone, he's really solid in the high register. So he tends to do that part of the trombone playing. Nick will do like me, will do the lower part, but Nick's also quite a strong singer. So him and Ben tend to feature a lot more in the vocals. Chris and I tend to do the gang vocals, but a little bit more back. And it's just about, and then we all solo and whatnot, but it's all just about finding your role in the songs and the music and just being supportive of each other and just know your role so that you give the best possible performance, really. There's no ego, there's no, I want to play the high notes on this song, or I want to take this. So it's just like, we're here to support. You do that, you're good at that.
Yeah.
I'm good at this, you're good at that, do this, and let's just make music and have fun.
Such great teamwork. Yeah,
I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's teamwork. I was literally having this chat with someone the other day. It's like, it's musicians and team sport in particular. I can tell musicians who I play with or who I, have come in the band or who I meet and whatever. I can tell if they've played team sport in their own life. As a kid or even now. It's like, it's such an important thing. And musicians, whether it be because they've been locked in a room all their life, practicing or not, it's such an important thing in music, and it's never discussed. And it really annoys me because I grew up playing team sport and a bunch of the guys in my band have too. But, often the people who are very egotistical and very, problematic or not the nicest people to be around. They might be the best musicians, but not the nicest people to be around. Often haven't had experience, being in a team or playing team sports. And, when you're traveling, when you're playing gigs and gigs and gigs and your planes and fans, and it's very easy to start getting on everyone's nerves or start, getting grumpy or whatever. And when you have experience of being in a team and being part of something, that helps with all that kind of aspect of being a musician. And then when you get on the stage and then playing, you can tell, like we're very lucky. We're all very good friends. We're very family and team oriented, and often the best part of the gigs is the before and after the gigs. Sometimes it's just us, shooting the shit and having fun and going out for dinner and, traveling and having a laugh. And like we went to Perth recently. We had a local musician join us for some songs, and he was really, really excited, but also kind of like didn't know what he was stepping into. And he after the show, he sent me a message and was just like, that was so cool. It was so much fun. I've been a big fan for years of the band, but just to be able to just let me into your family, and it's clear that you guys are a family, just from the way that you guys sit there paying each other out and having a laugh. And, it's not an easy thing to do. You're very tight-knit sort of thing, and you just let me in, and I was blown away of how warm and how close you all are, and I think that's the part of longevity of why our band has been able to exist for so long and do things and do the amount of work we do and still do. Even yesterday we had a rehearsal, which we don't get to do very much these days, but we started at 10 a.m. and just went till 4 p.m. and just played, chatted, working on new things, went out for lunch, played, chatted. It was just a really, fun thing. It was the best. I was looking forward to it all week.
Yeah. That's so good.
Just getting to hang with my buddies and, have a laugh and play music. And we had a lot of laughs because there's a lot of little jokes in the band and little in-jokes and things like that. But, that's back to my thing of sport, family, team. It's very important. I think it's a very underlooked thing in music.
That's a really interesting observation of the have you played a team sport. Did you have a band program at your school where you had like a trumpet sectional in an orchestra or a jazz band?
Yeah, we had all that stuff. I was very lucky, actually. We had a really good music program. I went to Strathmore Secondary College, and Miss Chu ran a very, very good music program. We had heaps of people in there. We had symphony orchestras, concert bands, brass ensembles, jazz ensembles, just everything you could imagine. And we had some really great teachers like Jordan Murray was teaching there, Lex Tier, Irene Gregorian, who's Leonard and Slava's mother, was a string teacher there. We had, just tons of really great, enthusiastic teachers, which made, the program fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's also really important as well. Teachers, this is kind of why I got out of the teaching game a little bit, but a big gripe of mine is teachers who are, shall you say, bitter.
Right.
Maybe not happy with the way their career went or, lack of, and they go into music teaching because that's what they've been trained to do, and they're negative and they're, telling. I remember having a teacher once say, don't even try to make him a career in music because you just won't. You won't make any money. And I think, that's not what teachers should be doing. They should be, inspiring. And whether yes, it is a hard life and yes, it is a hard thing, doesn't matter because you never know what this kid's going to be. And, I saw a lot of that and when I was teaching as well. And I kind of wanted to escape that because I didn't think that was very, it wasn't very nice. How do I say?
Yeah.
It should be inspiring. It should be encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I totally agree. That's why I stopped teaching because I wasn't feeling the passion for teaching. And I was like, similar to how you described, I had a bunch of really amazing music teachers growing up. And so I was like, well, if I can't be that enthusiastic, inspiring character, all right, great. I can teach you a whole bunch of technical things and music and that sort of thing. It's fine. But I'm not actually really excited about it.
Yeah.
And so I think you should be with someone who's enthusiastic. And so I'll go and not have teaching as a career because I'd get too jaded. And exactly like you say. You want to be inspiring young kids to play and then see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You could have the next Ross Owen in there or, in the next Tones and I or whoever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just, these are, Ross is a great example. He doesn't teach. He's just a trumpet player and he's incredible trumpet player, incredible arranger. Obviously works a lot with the Cat Empire, but he does a lot of other stuff, a lot of tours, a lot of writing, a lot of horn section stuff for, everybody. And he's a great example of what you can become and can do in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And involved a lot with Generations in Jazz and all that kind of stuff and education.
Yeah, I grew up screaming "I love you, Ross" at Generations in Jazz. That's what we all did back in high school. Yeah,
I've actually never been to Generations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe you should take the band down.
Maybe on the cards.
Well, that would be very exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool. Well, that's just a little nod, and we'll see where that goes.
Absolutely.
We've been playing this game on the podcast, where I get each guest to ask a question of the next guest, but without knowing who they are.
Right.
So I've got a question for you from jazz guitarist James Sherlock.
Oh, yeah.
What advice would you give guitar players when playing with you?
Just turn off. Mute.
You don't have guitar in your band, so it's easy.
Well, we do have a lot of banjo because obviously with my other band, the Sugarfoot Ramblers, we do have banjo. And John Scurry plays guitar in the band sometimes when he plays banjo and guitar. I guess it's so hard because obviously James, amazing guitarist and lovely human being. His music is a little bit different to what I play both with the kind of traditional New Orleans stuff with the Ramblers and then the brass band stuff with Horns. I mean, it's just, especially with banjo in Ramblers, it's kind of like know your role.
Mm.
And for a banjo player in that sort of music, it's not about taking bebop solos or anything like that. It's almost more rhythmic, of 2 and 4, hitting 4 and things like that. And, even with that band over the years, like when we started to what we play now, it's just, it has been a journey, and learning from the older guys like Brett Eglin and John Scurry, Alan Brown from, those three from Red Onions, and that kind, like hanging out with them, playing with them and talking about the music with them. You learn, like, even the trumpet in a traditional jazz band has a role. The trombone has a role, clarinet has a role. And I think that would, same with banjo, I would say. My advice would be, to just kind of know your role in the band to produce the music to get the best result.
Yeah. What is it for you that you like so much about these older styles of music and then playing them now?
I don't know. I really gravitated towards traditional New Orleans music. Like, I obviously had played standards and done all that stuff and modern stuff, and I still love it as well, but I just don't play it anymore, or don't play it at this part of my life. And I don't know, I just really gravitated towards the sounds of traditional New Orleans music, Louis Armstrong, and then obviously, Duke Ellington, all that kind of stuff. But then here in Australia, really loving, Alan Brown, Red Onions, Yarra Yarra Jazz Band, Tom Baker stuff, all that kind of, the Hoodangers, just that sound here, like we kind of adapted it as well here in Australia. And that's, like this trumpet player was just in town, John Eric Kelso from New York, and he's really big into that traditional scene over there. He plays with the Nighthawks, Vince Giordano's Nighthawks, and plays with, he's done a lot of stuff with Winton and whatnot, and he's an incredible trumpet player, incredible soloist. But he comes down here and he hangs out with John Scurry and Brett Eglin, and like they like the Americans know these guys from what they did here in the 60s, and like that's a big thing. Like the traditional jazz here in Australia was huge, like all through the 60s, 50s, 40s, everything. It was only until the Beatles came along that it changed literally overnight. But like that was the music you would hear in pubs, and bands would play 7 nights a week in a pub, and each pub would have their band to play. Like it was how you made a living. Wow. And you'd play 6 nights a week. Lynn Wallace will tell you about it all, and they were like, especially the Red Onions, they were kind of like rock stars. Like they couldn't walk down the street without being recognized. And then Alan Brown tells a story of like literally as soon as the Beatles came on the scene, it just changed overnight. Wow. Yeah. Went from people loving that music to the Beatles and rock and roll. Whew. But I don't know, I've always gravitated towards it and really like it, and that's, for me, it's a pretty, I don't want to say grim scene, but it's the traditional jazz scene here is pretty much gravitated towards, beer gardens and, free entry kind of pub things. So the fees you get are pretty low to play that music. But, I prefer to do a Sunday Arvo in a beer garden with my good friends playing this music I love for, $60, $70 than having a high pressure, trumpet horn section gig or whatever. Just at times you need that, You need that just no worries kind of fun hang, just have a beer in a beer garden, play some music.
Yeah, music for music's sake.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It is definitely more of a passion band than a band that it's trying to make a living or anything like that. But that's why I'm lucky with Horns, because Horns is coexisting with this band. It's been like, obviously Horns of Leroy is a passion as well, but that band has been able to make money for my members and for us over the years. So it's been like, that's always been the kind of high pressure, serious kind of things. And then Rambler has been a bit more of a, release, a passion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what would you like to ask our next guest?
Does it have to be trumpet related?
No, it does not have to be trumpet related. You could literally ask them anything that you would like.
Wow. Let me think. I mean, I often ask, actually, this is one that when I talk to a lot of younger musicians, I often ask them this: do you want to be hold on, let me think, how do I phrase this? So, I mean, it's kind of specific to trumpet, but do you want to be a musician or do you want to be an artist? What do you want to do in music? And I mean, I changed it to artist because normally I'd say, do you want to be a trumpet player or do you want to be a musician?
Oh.
Okay. But maybe artist, because I don't know if the next person's a trumpet player. But
you were our first trumpet player.
Oh, there we go.
On the welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for diversifying.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to try and expand the world from drummers.
Because that's also something to think about as well. It's just like, are you there to do a role or do you want to contribute, musically and as an artist or write music or whatnot? And sometimes, when you're younger, you just kind of go through the motions and wherever it takes you. But I think also thinking about your career and what you want to do as a musician or as an artist or a trumpet player, because there are players there's trumpet players here in Australia who don't improvise, they don't play in any jazz bands, they just play trumpet, they just play in sections, but then you've got trumpet players who do both, and then you've got trumpet players who only play as an artist, an improviser.
Mm-hmm. Is that where you just draw the distinction? Like you're only playing what's written on the page versus, creative freedom to improvise?
Well, I mean, there's no right or wrong. You could do both, or you could do either. But I think sometimes if you don't think about it, you might not be, like there's only a certain amount of time in the day, and there's only, as you get older, it becomes harder and harder to practice and finding time to practice. And I think focusing in on what you want to do will ultimately help you be a better musician or help your career in the long run. Because it is all about focusing, and like it just gets harder and harder. Yeah. One of my teachers used to say, once you hit 30, it's just going to be harder. And I was like, we always sort of laugh at it, but I'm like, actually, you were really right. It becomes harder to practice, harder to find time to do things. I guess that's my question. I didn't really think about it.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, before I give you the 5 quick answer questions to finish, where do you see the second 10 years of your music career with Horns of Leroy and other, all the other things you do? Where's Travis Woods going for the next decade?
That's a very good question. Honestly, I would like to sort of keep the momentum we've got at the moment, not that I've got at the moment. It is we are at that sort of mid-30s time where a lot of people are getting married and kids are starting to pop up. So it is already starting to become a little bit more prevalent in what we can do, and, you know, less late night gigs and things like that. And so, I mean, that's definitely going to impact it. But, I mean, the main thing is just to survive and keep on being a part of the music scene in some way. And then, you know, like, whether we have a little lull for a few years and then come back and keep playing, you know, it's just, the main thing is just to keep the legacy going.
Well, it's been like, it's so cool watching it grow, and thanks so much for sharing so many different things about it.
No worries. My pleasure.
You're doing so many cool things, Travis, and I feel very special to chat to you about it.
No worries. It's another dude who lives in Brunswick like you. Don't stress.
All right, 5 quick answer questions to finish.
Yeah.
What is your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
Howler.
What would be your dream venue to play anywhere in the world?
Probably somewhere in New Orleans, to be honest.
Have you ever done like a gig, like one of the like New Orleans street parties or anything?
In New Orleans?
Yeah.
No. It would be awesome to try and get us over there to do that.
Yeah. I used to watch the like YouTube videos of the for like there was a couple of years in my life where I was just like, this is the best.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It's like, wow, what an experience.
Yeah. You should, if you get the chance to go to New Orleans and catch a second line randomly, it's the best. And then also you've got second lines, which happen for, you know, parties and deaths and things. But then also in the French Quarter, bands will just set up at night and just busk for hours. Wow. And that's a completely different thing. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Very, very cool experience.
All right, sorry, I cut you off though. Somewhere in New Orleans. Is there anywhere in particular?
No, it could be anywhere, to be honest. It'd just be cool to take the band there and hang and, you know, hang out with the Hot 8 guys and the TVC guys and just do a gig. Yeah. Because I know they'll probably all come and hang and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And it'll be just a big jam. It'll just end up at a big old jam with 1 million horn players on stage.
Can you sign up someone to wear one of those like camera on the head hat helmets or something and just live stream the whole thing? So
yeah, sure.
Those of us stuck in Melbourne can you know, join in.
I'll just give someone $50 to live stream the whole thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Stand in front of us and live stream it.
What is your coffee order?
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, what is your beverage of choice?
Tea.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I also don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
So no judgment here. It's just a very Melbourne thing to do.
It is, yeah. Usually when I tell anyone I don't drink coffee, it's always, how do you exist? How do you live in Melbourne?
Yeah, it is incomprehensible for some people.
Yeah.
But it generally indicates perhaps a problem.
Definitely.
What is your favourite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
I have a lot of places I like to eat. I'm not gonna lie, and I like good food. But we do have this funny thing in the band. It's kind of a running joke, but whenever we're in Fitzroy or we play the nightclub, whatever, we always end up at China Bar.
Oh,
so for some reason, it's just a thing. We always, if we're playing in the city or something and we've got time, we'll go to China Bar for dinner, or we'll go after for dinner. So it just happens for some reason.
Wow. Well, it's nice to have some traditions.
Yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Probably over the years to probably take a little more time for myself. I think the guys tell me as well, but I think I'm probably a little too loyal and I do a lot of work I shouldn't have to do because other people, you know, are lazy. So it's more like especially with the band, it's and we talked about it earlier, just the sheer amount of work that it takes to do these things. It could have been easier, and it should have been easier, and it's definitely caused me a lot of stress and late nights for no reason. So it's more, I'd probably learn to be a bit more stubborn and be a bit more of a jerk to the guys and be like, get your shit together, instead of just going, oh, fuck it, I'll do it. It's probably the biggest thing I would take over the last 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this, Travis.
No worries.
Yeah, so cool to have watched your career grow.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, thanks for sharing so many different insights.
Yeah,
that sports analogy thing is going to stick with me for a while. I'm going to be, maybe I might add that to the podcast for a little bit. I start asking people if they played team sports.
It's very, very important.
What was your team sport?
Ice hockey.
Ice hockey?
Yeah.
In Melbourne?
Yeah.
Where do you play ice hockey?
At the moment, I play out in Docklands.
Oh, you still play?
Yeah.
Did you, there's a ice hockey rink in Docklands?
There's one in Docklands, there's one in Preston, in Reservoir, there's one in Oakley. We used to be one in Geelong, and then used to be one in Bendigo, and there used to be one in Bayswater and Ringwood.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's this whole subculture that I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I've played for quite a long time.
Are we talking the Canadian style you...
Yeah, ice hockey.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just taking me a moment to comprehend.
Yeah.
Do you wear the pads and everything? And do you punch people in the rink?
I've never punched anyone, but I've definitely been in a lot of brawls. But fighting's not it's not what everyone thinks it is. It's not like it's everything. It's not like every game there's a fight. But
okay. I thought that was the point of the sport.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's a great sport, and it's thriving again here in Australia. And got our first Australian made the NHL a few years back, and he's doing really well, Nathan Walker. And it's a good sport. I mean, I don't play competitively anymore. I just play club level, just enough to keep some basic fitness. And been hard with the music thing, trying to keep.
Mate, you're so busy.
Yeah. So, but it's good. It's a fun sport.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, sorry.
Go for a skate.
Thanks for the recommendation. Thanks for the chat. This has been awesome.
Anytime.